I have a theory, and the theory is that we are living in the sweetest moment of human history. Right now, there is a global reset happening, the mother of all resets. And the key indicator of this theory is problems. Problems are bad. Problems are terrible. In fact, we're living in a time where we've inherited all kinds of problems, too many to count. Problems per region, per country, per continent, all kinds of problems, internal problems, external problems, family crisis. We're living in a polycrisis, literally. We have global warming issues. We have geopolitical issues, several things. But you see, if you look at history, you would find out that problems have always been a door to humans entering into a new dispensation of efficiency. Problems have always been an invitation for builders to arise and to provide solutions. When you look at some of the people in history that have been very, very useful in solving problems, most of them solve problems that were not in a field, they were not coined as a specialty. Some of them were painters, some of them were normal people with no education, but they were able to write some of the calculations, theorize some of the laws that have laid the foundation for solutions to problems that they were not obligated to solve. One of those people is Sir Isaac Newton. Let me take you back to 1666. He is in England and there's a great plague. Cambridge is shut. He goes back to his farmhouse in Lincolnshire. And for 18 months, while the world is going through a pandemic, 100,000 people had died in London alone. Isaac Newton sat to himself and began to think about problems that he did not need to solve. And in that period of time, which is now called by many people the year of wonder, Isaac Newton's year of wonder, he was able to create calculations, calculus, and several things. And so you see, whilst the world was going through a great plague, and later that year, there was even a fire that ran for 4 days, Isaac Newton saw an opportunity to pay attention. And so those are the two keys in this conversation. The first is that we're at the sweetest moment in human history because we have many problems to solve. And the second is that attention is a key, a very, very powerful key. You know, attention is a very familiar word. I'm sure when you were young, you heard your parents or your school teachers always say, pay attention or call your attention. Attention is a very, very important currency. In fact, right now, there's an economy for it. There is a campaign. Big industries are trying to keep you on platforms so that they can use your data, sell your data, understand you. Now, there's a side of it that might be good, but there's a side of it that is really, really going very wrong. And if we as individuals do not take the responsibility to begin to redeem our attention span, to begin to redeem our ability to do deep work, deep focused work, paying attention, sustained attention, then we are not going to be able to solve the problems that we need to solve. Because some of the problems we need to solve are not linear. Some of the problems we need to solve will need ambiguity. It will need you sitting with unstructured questions. It will need you sitting with things that do not make sense, things that cannot even make sense to AI. An example is Isaac Newton. How can you connect an apple falling from a tree to laws of gravitation? It makes no sense really, but he paid attention. And when you look at many leaders, innovative pioneers, that was one key that he had. It was easier, in my opinion, to pay attention then because there wasn't an economy struggling and fighting for that. But you see, we have an opportunity to build. The world has so many problems beyond what specialists can keep up with. And that's a call. That's a door saying that in your region, in your environment, you have the opportunity to begin to pay attention. Pay attention to nature. Pay attention to the butterflies. Pay attention to one problem and give it your undivided attention. When you look at the human brain, you'd see that the way the human brain operates is fundamentally divided into two major networks. You have the DMN, which is a default mode network, and you have the TPM, which is a task positive network. Now, you see, both networks are very important. The default mode network handles regions of the brain that are activated when you are daydreaming, thinking about yourself, basically doing internal work, which is good, right? But the tax positive network is actually what gets activated when you focus your attention on an external problem. You focus on solving something. And you see, the funny thing about this is that they dim themselves. So when you're daydreaming, you can't actually focus on very serious work. When you're focusing on serious work, you can actually daydream. Now, both are very important, but we must be able to give ourselves to deep work, to activating the tax positive network. It's almost impossible to do so right now because when you look at the reports by neuroscientists in the University of California, they found out that once you are digitally distracted, it takes 23 minutes to actually get back your attention, to get back to that level, that flow state. What scientists have now described a flow state where you lose consciousness of yourself and you lose consciousness of time. And guess what? The average person is distracted every 3 to 5 minutes. So how can we sustain attention? How can we carry a question for 1 week? How can we carry a problem in our hearts for 2 weeks? It's not going to be possible. So I want to challenge you today, not tomorrow. I want you to literally ghost everything. And for 25 minutes, I want you to be by yourself. Don't check your phone. Don't watch anything. Don't talk to anybody. Think about a problem. It can be anything. It can be in STEM. It can be in humanities. It can be in art. It can be what is plaguing your present local community. And I want you to sit with that problem. I want you to intermeddle with that problem. That's what I want you to do. Thank you.